Hello and welcome to this O&DR Modurol video. This is video AT05 in our series of XK8 videos detailing how we removed the automatic transmission and refurbished it. This video I'm going to cover how we removed our exhaust. In our case it's mostly aftermarket, so it's not applicable to everybody, but there are some lessons learned I'd like to share with you guys. Plus I'll take this opportunity to review the XK8 exhaust components, part numbers, etc. for your information. Hope you find it interesting. We're breaking this video down into several sections or chapters. First of all, we're going to talk about the overall system. Then we're going to break it down into the parts. First of all, the rear silencers, then the tail trims, then the over axles and intermediate silencers, and then the front silencer, and then finally we're going to talk about the removal lessons learned if you intend to remove the exhaust yourself. Okay, first of all, the system. So overall the X100 has a twin exhaust pipe system, one for each bank of cylinders, and the exhaust system is practically the same for the XK8 and XKR, but there are some simple differences then changes throughout the model years that makes each particular component slightly different, and we're going to explain that through the video. Okay, so the exhaust system itself is broken down into 4 sections. The overall internal diameter is roughly 2 inches at those joins internally, or 51 millimeters. So it's basically a 2-inch exhaust system. The exhaust sections then, working from the back forwards. Section 1 is the rear silencers, including the tail trims. Section 2 is intermediate silencers and the over axle pipes. This exhaust system actually goes over the rear axle to improve road clearance. Section 3 is the front silencer, including a crossover. And then finally, section 4 is the downpipes, including catalytic converters. So the system joints, as you can see highlighted in yellow on the diagram here, all have the same clamp. It's an NJB 6744GA or something like that, of a diameter of 52.1 millimeter. Now the hanging points, starting from the front, working backwards this time, the catalytic converters actually bolt directly to the exhaust manifold. Then the bottom of the catalytic converter has a bracket which bolts directly to the flange in between the engine and the gearbox. So it's a very firm fitment there. The bracket and bolt part numbers you can see in the slide. Working back then to the over axle pipes, there are 2 mounting points there, actually, which are bolted to the suspension subassembly, as you can see in the picture in the top left-hand corner. It's not actually attached to the car, hence when the suspension moves, the exhaust moves with it, not the body. The mounting joint there, or the mounting point there, part number is given and the associated bolts. And then finally, the hanging point at the rear of the car is actually a rubber mount on original spec cars, the original cars, and that actually attaches directly to the body through a metal rod welded to the side of the body shell. So there you go. Overall, there are basically 3 pairs of fixing points for the whole exhaust system. Next then, we're going to examine the 3 main sections in a bit more detail. First of all, the rear silencers. Here you can see the various part numbers used for the rear silencers, but as I say, they're fundamentally the same. The reasons they are different is there are differences in the hangers at the back of the silencer box. From model year 1996 to the beginning up to the end of model year 2000, or the VIN number A11050, the hangers actually were left to right in car, or sideways. From model year 2001 onwards, the hanging points went rearwards So that is one of the differences. You can see here, this is the original hanging point with just the rubber hanging. Later on, from model year 2001, together with that point going rearwards in car, the rubber mount changed. It wasn't just a rubber, it was actually sort of a whole little mounting bracket, as you can see in the diagram here, part numbers in the slide. Finally, there was another difference to the hanger, the exhaust not so much, but the hanger changed for model year 2005 cars because it became an adjustable hanging point, which is really quite useful if you're having trouble aligning your exhaust trims to your bumper, because this gave you adjustment in 2 directions. And that was from cars A42348 onwards. I'm not sure of the part number of those. If you're interested in modifying stage 1 of your exhaust, I've done a video of that. That's video 195. Should be a link in the top right hand corner. Okay then, section 3, tail trims, because these were another difference with the back boxes. Again, the rear silencer difference was the tail trims. There was actually 3 different standards of trim through the life of the vehicle. First of all, we had the original trims up to model year 2001. These are what I call the teeny tiny trims because they're not really appropriate for a V8 vehicle, but they were the ones fitted to the cars of that era. Now, these original trims were welded on to the back boxes. There was 2 welds, one top and bottom of the trim. Then came the larger trims. These started from model year 2001, originally fitted just to the XKR. Unfortunately, the XK8 still got the teeny tiny trims, and this was from cars A11051 onwards. Now, these larger trims were actually fitted to the XK8, but not until model year 2005 or A42348. Now, again, these larger trims were bolt-on, hence why the back boxes didn't really change after that point. But again, there was a couple of minor changes in this trim, but they look visually the same from the rear. The part numbers are there. The trims from model year 2005 onwards were slightly different design, albeit visually the same. Now here's a visual. I thought I'd give you this visual comparison between the teeny tiny trims and the larger trims. It's a massive, massive difference, and it really looks more fitting to the car. Now, that was one of my first modifications to the car, was to basically grind off the old trims and bolt on the new ones. Really, really simple upgrade. Takes literally minutes. Then there was finally the twin oval exhaust trims. These were from model year 2005 onwards, XKR only. That's again from cars A42348, and it was really a really good upgrade to the final versions of the car. Now these were actually were bolt-on, hence they were using the same back boxes as the XK8. Part numbers are there for the left hand and right hand because they were subtly different, because they are offset and slash cuts. They are handed. Section 4 then, the over-axle pipe with intermediate silencer. The intermediate silencer over-axle pipes were basically the same. There was some subtle differences, but I'm not quite sure what they were. You can see the part numbers there. One thing to note, the intermediate section on all these versions of the exhaust has a compressed section of pipe, which really does restrict the flow and give you a bit of back pressure. So I'd highly recommend fitting stage 2, the straight pipes, for improving that efficiency of breathing the car and ease of fitting them. If you're having to take those over axle pipes, they're a bit of a pain because they're one piece. These stage 2 kits come in 2 pieces normally, which makes them really easy to fit. And they do release the V8 burble, and because I haven't got the silencer incorporated, they are much, much lighter. Okay, section 5, the front silencer. So first of all, the front silencer is a big box, and the reason it's so large, it has a crossover in there as well as all the baffles and what have you. So the idea of that, it's supposed to balance exhaust pulses from each bank to improve exhaust gas scavenging, overall efficiency, as well as sound deadening. Okay, so the front silencer differences between different models were basically purely the mounting to the catalytic converter. The mounting method differs. So the 4-litre cars basically had a slide fit. The part numbers are there. And the 4.2-litre has a flange fitment with a separate pipe on one side, a detachable pipe on one side. I'm not quite sure why that is. I assume it's something to do with the gearbox. All the part numbers there. Okay, so finally then, section 6, removal lessons learned. This is where I'll go through. I'm not going to show you how to remove the exhaust. It's really simple, but I'll go through some of the lessons learned I've had and a bit of the useful things you might want to know. Okay, first of all, number 1, how much access do you require? Well, really as much as possible, but I remove my exhaust with about 680 millimeters of clearance under the car, and that was more than adequate. If you're interested in how I did it, there's a video, AT04, part of my playlist of videos where I'm trying to remove my automatic transmission and refurbish it, and there should be a link in the top right hand corner. Section number 2 then, work from the rear forwards. It might seem obvious, but don't try and take the front silencer off, because everything needs room to move from basically the front backwards. So start from the rear. Number 3 then, remove the rear wheels. That really gives good access to the rear joint from the back boxes, the rear silencers and the intermediate crossover pipes. Section 4 then, when you remove the back rubber hanger or the mounting point of the rear exhaust, you can use leverage of the exhaust itself to work the exhaust loose from the over axle pipe, and once you do that, it's a real doddle getting them off. If you're interested in upgrading to stage 1, again, take a look at our video 195, and I'll show you in more detail how to do that. Should be a link in the top right hand corner. Okay, number 5 then, when you're removing the over axle pipes, my advice is just grind them off. Don't even bother getting them away. It's a real nightmare trying to get them off. Just grind them away and fit some decent stainless steel over axle pipes. You won't be sorry. And I would actually recommend that the noise is actually better than stage 1. If you do stage 2 without stage 1, I think it's actually preferable, but that's only a personal opinion. Number 6 then, use a rubber hammer, a rubber mallet or a hammer to remove the old exhaust to avoid any damage. It did work for me. Really good to have a large rubber mallet to help with that. The front silencer to cat clamps get extremely corroded, and they're impossible to get off. The nuts are basically rusted away. So number 7 then, you can loosen these clamps just by grinding with a single cut. Seconds it takes, and they come free very easily, and you don't have to worry about removing them as they're actually welded on. So you just lever them apart with a screwdriver, and the exhaust just pulls off. It's very easy. Number 8 then, the rear transmission mount actually fouls the removal of that front silencer. So you need to actually not remove the mount, but remove the intermediate strap first. The strap across those 2 front pipes. Number 9 then, be careful when you're using that rubber mallet not to hit that strap, or use a strap to remove it, or the pipe work itself, because you can see here I actually bent my strap mounting points on the exhaust, and I've dented the exhaust pipe itself, and I'm probably going to just change out this front silencer now. And then finally, number 10, you can use a bin to support the end. In our case, a little wheelie bin to support the end, or a flip-top bin. It was a really convenient way of supporting it while I was trying to grapple with the other end. Hopefully that will help you when you're removing your exhaust. In the next video, we're going to explain how we removed the catalytic converters. We didn't want to add it to this video because we thought it'd make it overly long, and it's a fairly specific thing. Most people don't remove them, but if you're interested in knowing how, we've got loads of detail on that coming up. Well, there you go. That's how we removed our exhaust. Next step, we're going to look at actually removing the catalytic converters, which I didn't cover this video because it deserves a video all on its own because it's really quite tricky, and there's lots of lessons learnt with that. So if you're interested in that, taking your catalytic converters off, please take a look at that video. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Hope you find it interesting. Please like, comment, share and subscribe for more XK8 videos.